In today's episode of Today in World War II, March 16th, the very first British civilian of the war dies on this date. A German U-boat ace is captured. German battle cruisers continue to attack Allied convoys successfully. Hitler predicts that by the end of 42, Britain is going to be defeated. Finally, Stalin demands the Allies open up a Western front, second front in France in 1943. Let's get started. Okay, so on March 16th, 1940, for the very first time in the war, a British civilian is killed. In this case, it was a bomb. James Ibister, whose name will be remembered in this video chronicle anyway, because the Germans bombed his house on March 16, 1940. He was in the Bridge of Waith, the village, and he was unlucky that for some reason in this out of the way place, maybe the German bomber was under attack by fighters and just had to drop bombs, its payload to get lighter and get more speed to escape. No idea. There's no record of why the Germans bombed this out of the way village, but they did. And Mr. Ibister, unfortunately, became a footnote in history by being the first British civilian to be killed by a German bomb on this date. On March 16, 1941, not a good day for the German U-boat fleet because one of their most successful U-boat aces, Otto Kretschmer, he was famously the captain of U-19. His ran out. And this was interesting because in 41, they were just starting to introduce onboard ship radar in the Atlantic, but it wasn't able to rotate yet. You had to be line of sight. And Kretschmer had attacked this one convoy. He'd gotten some hits, sunk a couple of ships, and he had the misfortune of surfacing a little too soon. The escort, the HMS Walker, it was just fortuitous on the side of the Brits. It was unlucky for Kretschmer because when he surfaced, he just so happened to be directly in line of sight for their radar, which again, I'll repeat, couldn't rotate. So it was just it was a fantastic luck on the British side where he's got a ship lined up here. You've got the German U-boat here. He comes up out of the water and just so happens the radar's there. And once the escorts got a fix on him, they could depth charge him until eventually he knew that the jig was up. He was going to sink or surrender. So he surfaced, got his crew off, and he scuttled it, and it sank. He was one of the most U-boat aces that fell into captivity. On March 16, 1941, the German battle cruisers Scharnhorst and Gneisenau were continuing their rampage and their cruise to attack Allied convoys. Yesterday, they were able to destroy three tankers and capture three tankers. Today, it continued, and they sank or captured 10 ships from that convoy. So if you conclude the six they got the previous day, that's 16 ships in this one convoy. That's a heavy duty number. One of the merchant vessels had a deck gun and it courageously tried to fight them off with a deck gun, but a merchant ship with a deck gun against two battle cruisers with 11-inch shells. You're not going to win that battle much very often. Unfortunately, the convoy did send out a distress signal. There was a British battleship, HMS Rodney, in the area, but by the time the Rodney arrived, the German ships had already fled. And that was their modus operandi in the war was go for the low-hanging fruit, don't engage with the escorts. If there's heavy escorts, flee. And that's what they did. On March 16, 1941, Adolf Hitler predicted that the United Kingdom would fall by 1942. Interesting, as I said in yesterday's video, he also said that the Soviet Union would fall by end of summer of 1942. Maybe this was a sign that the drugs were really starting to affect his mind because those are pretty Delusional predictions, I should say. I will tell you this. I remember very clearly when I got married in 1999, in November 1999, I remember in December of 1999 stating that the following year, in the 2000, I would win an argument against my wife. Pretty delusional, isn't it? So anyway, yeah, it didn't happen. We know that, right? March 16, 1943, Joseph Stalin demanded that the Western Allies open up a second front in Europe. We heard this a lot in 43, even in 42. And yes, at this time, the Soviets were fighting the majority of German and fascist Nazi land forces, 100%, but we were also supplying them heavily with equipment and tanks, planes, trucks, fuel, everything. They would not have survived without us. So there's that. Second of all, Mr. Stalin seems to have forgotten that we were fighting them in North Africa, right? We were fighting them, and you just can't invade France when they occupy North Africa, Italy, Sicily, and so on and so forth. We were fighting them. It wasn't like we were, I mean, I've been in Russia for 20, 30 years, 20 plus 30 years. And I hear this BS all the time when I speak to Russians about the war. And it's like, they don't know we were fighting in North Africa and we invaded Sicily, then we invaded Italy. We were constantly fighting the Germans until the Normandy invasion, right? So chill out, Stalin, right? Thanks. And you chill out, and I'll see you tomorrow in my next video. Thanks.